Hello, flight attendant friends, friends of Gina's. Um, I'm so excited to be able to make this video for you. Gina's a friend of mine, and she said that her body tends to hurt after work, after long flights, and so she thought it would be fun to have access to some yoga when you guys are on the go, and I think that's a great idea. So meet Ruby. Hi. Ruby helps me teach sometimes. And I put together a flow for you guys, so I hope that you enjoy it, and I hope that that you have some space in your hotel room. You can relax a little bit, stretch, and put your body back together. That's what this is all about. So anyway, go ahead and bring yourself to a nice seat on your shins. Tuck your toes. And just take a second here and just kind of put some weight back. Like you could lift your knees, but don't. Let the bottoms of the feet stretch a bit. So depending on how often you do a move like this, it might actually really be intense for you. And go ahead and let it be intense, but don't let it be super painful. I can actually feel it more in my right side than in my left, and I have a tendency to get plantar fasciitis, which I think is probably something that's pretty common for flight attendants too. So don't be surprised if yours is different side to side. Just kind of let this steep a little bit. As it gets to be intense, just take the pressure off a little, you know, and then hit it again. Just take a few more moments here, stretching the soles of the feet. Again, no pain, but intense. And if it's different in one side than the other, that's pretty normal. Okay, so from here, go ahead and put the tops of the feet on the mat and send your hips back to your heels and go ahead and sit up to vertical. I'm going to turn to face you, but you stay where you are. So you're seated on your shins. Take an inhale and circle sweep your arms out and up. Take an exhale and side bend over to your left. I'm going to mirror you, so you just mirror me. Inhaling, come back up to vertical and take your palms with you, and exhaling then over to your right side. And take a couple of breaths here, just looking for a very deep stretch through your whole left side. Take an inhale and come back through center. Let's just do one more like that on both sides. So exhaling, come down to your left and just stretch, looking for this whole right side to open up. Think about your right hip being heavy, and your bottom right ribs lifting away from your heavy, heavy hips. So lots of stretch there. On your next inhale, come back up to vertical, take your hands with you, and exhale over in the other direction. Stretch, stretch, stretch. And then again, think about this left hip just being really, really heavy in the bottom left ribs. Can you imagine them moving away from your very heavy hip? So you just have this very deep stretch through the whole left side of the body. Take an inhale now. Come back up through center. I'm going to go back to my original position. You stay there. As you exhale this time, twist over to your right and take your right fingertips back behind you. With an inhale, lift your hips. And then as you take an exhale, bring the hips back down and cartwheel all of this forward. You're coming to all fours and you're rounding your spine like a cat. And then with an inhale, drop your belly, send your tailbone up toward the ceiling, like shamelessly stick it up. Look up toward the ceiling, draw your shoulder blades together and down your back. And exhale and round. Now separate your shoulder blades. Draw your belly button up and in. Maybe you even look at your belly button. Push your shins down into the mat. Stretch and hold back. One more each. Inhale. This is cow pose. Let your belly be really heavy. And exhale and round cat pose. Be just like an angry cat. Round your spine. Maybe your arms can feel like they're right by your ears. The next time you exhale, take your hips back to your heels. Come back to vertical, take your arms out and up. Speeding things up just a little bit. Exhale, side bend to your left first. Reach very heavy through your right hip. Inhale, come back up through center, take your hands with you. Exhale, side bend to the right. Very, very heavy with your left hip. Inhale, come back up through vertical, twisting now to your left. Take your left fingertips somewhere behind you. Take an inhale and lift. If this is as far as you go, great, it's fine. We'll visit it later again. So maybe this is it for you. Maybe you go a little bit higher. And then as you exhale, cartwheel everything down, coming back to that cat pose, very round through your spine. And cow, and cat, and cow. Exhale, cat, hips back to heels. One more on each side. Inhale, take the arms out and up, palms join. Exhaling, side bend right first this time. Inhale, come through center. Exhale, side bend left. Inhale, come through center. Exhale, twist to your right. Fingertips come down behind you. Inhale up. And then as you exhale, take all of this apart. Cartwheel down. Cat pose. Cow pose. Cat pose. Cow pose. Cat. Hips back to heels. Inhale, last one. Arms out and up. Exhale, side bend to the left first. Reach. Inhale back through center. Exhale, side bend right. And reach. Inhale, come back through center. And exhale, we twist to the left. Fingertips come down behind us. We inhale, lift hips to some degree that makes sense in our own body. Exhale, cartwheel, hands down. Cat pose. And cow pose. And cat pose. And cow pose. Tuck your toes under. Take your hips back to your heels and then just straighten your legs. Come into whatever downward dog feels good to you, so you can move your hips a bit here. Maybe you want to lift one leg, just kind of do some circles. Whatever feels good to you. I designed this particular flow for you to be able to take up lots of room. So you've been on a flight and you have to be all, you know, elbows in, knees in, pushing carts, pulling carts, everything's skinny, everything's tiny, single serve. So just take up space here. Maybe you take your feet really wide and just bend your knees, kind of swing your hips from side to side. There's no wrong movement here. Do whatever feels good to you. And then start to bring this to something that you can hold still. You're like an upside down V. Maybe your heels come to the ground and maybe they don't. It doesn't really matter. I'm mostly looking for a place where you feel pretty strong and stable so that you can get what really matters out of this pose, and that is bending the knees, letting the tailbone tip up toward the ceiling, just kind of letting your back get some traction here. If yoga isn't a thing that you do very often, this might not really feel like a resting position, but try and find a place where, you know, your knees are bent enough that your belly does kind of rest on your thighs, and, you know, you can kind of hang out here because it feels good to put some traction on your spine. You've been standing and walking for hours and hours. Kind of turn that upside down a bit. And then from here, very gently, careful with you, careful with your shoulders, walk your hands back to meet your feet. Coming toward the back edge of your mat. Notice my knees are still pretty bent. Keep them as bent as they need to be. It's not a problem. And you're folding forward here. Grab opposite elbows. Let your head hang. Maybe you shake your head no, nod it yes. So walking meditation. Just giving yourself some time to Feel your feet on the mat, feel your hands on the mat. With all the air travel that you do energetically, you could use more grounding, I suspect. So walk your hands back out to the front of your mat and just kind of really feel the ground beneath your hands. Purposefully place your hands. There's no need to move quickly. You know, you're always flying through the air, hundreds of miles per hour. Go slowly, like honey. Just do it on purpose. Do it grounding strongly. And now walk your feet up to meet your hands. So again, there's no wrong way to do it. My knees are really quite bent. It's just kind of how I'm built, I guess. Do whatever it takes for you to be able to make it up to the top of your mat. Just putting your own feet, your bare feet on ground, on solid ground, and doing it on purpose. Grab opposite elbows again and just hang here. And take a couple more moments here. We'll do one more in both directions. So plant your hands shoulder width apart and start to walk your feet back. You're walking back into another downward facing dog, so you'll end up like an upside down V shape. It doesn't matter how many steps you take. It doesn't matter if it's ugly. You're just doing it because it feels good to touch the ground and to do it purposely and to do it slowly. And then when you're ready to, walk your hands back to meet your feet. You're folded forward at the back of your mat or on your floor. You don't really need a mat for this practice. Take an inhale and roll yourself up here to standing. Draw your arms out and up. Join the palms and take an exhale to bring your hands down to your heart. So one last walking meditation, you're just going to take yourself forward to the top of your mat. And if you aren't on a mat, just give yourself like 4 or 5 steps. See if you can close your eyes. Do this with your eyes closed. And just move slowly and purposely. And if you feel wobbly, that's totally fine. Just let your feet sink into the ground. Let yourself really feel that. You'll know when you're at the top of your mat because your toes will tell you, like mine just did. Come to standing at the top of your mat. Or just come to standing. Take an inhale and circle, sweep your arms out and up and join the palms up above your head. And as you exhale, fold your sweet self forward. Take an inhale and lift halfway. You can put your hands on your shins, or you can take them to your heart, or you can just leave your fingertips on the floor. Whatever makes sense for you. Take an exhale, and with that exhale, step this right foot back to the back edge of your mat as far as you can send it. Your left knee should be directly above your left ankle. So people have a tendency to have this really far forward like this. Don't do that. Make it back here so that it's a right angle. It's stronger, more protective. Drop your right knee down and untuck your right toes. And then take an inhale and draw your arms out and up. This one is for your right hip. So you're trying to kind of push your hips forward. There's a lot of weight in this front leg. You're pressing the top of the right shin straight down into the mat, and that's kind of helping to ground this pose. And again, for you, because you are in the air so much and traveling so much at such high speeds, do think about, heaviness. Really press that back shin down into the mat. Really press your hips forward. Do it on purpose. Stretch things out. With your next exhale, take your hands down. Let them frame this left foot. You can come up onto fingertips if you like, and then rock these hips back. Take the toes up toward the ceiling. So now your back knee is right under your right hip. Stretching here through the back of your left leg. And then we'll flow this a couple of times. Inhale, come back onto the sole of the left foot. Take the arms out and up. Exhale, bring your fingertips back down. Inhale, take these hips back once again. Left toes come toward the ceiling. Exhale, back onto the sole of the left foot. Inhale, up you go with your hands. Exhale, down. Inhale, pull hips back, stretch back of left leg. Inhale, come back onto the sole of the left foot. Keep your right hand down and send your left hand up toward the ceiling. It's a low lunge and a twist. With your next exhale, take these left fingertips down, frame left foot, tuck right toes under, lift right knee, send left foot back to meet the right, and here's a plank pose, like a high push-up pose. So you're very strong here, strong through the arms, strong through the legs as well. The booty's down and the heart's ever so slightly forward. And then as you exhale, you can drop your knees and then drop to your belly. Or option B, if you already do yoga or if you're feeling a little bit stronger, keep elbows tucked into your body, lower down halfway, chaturanga. And inhale and lift your heart. Upward facing dog. So from your belly, you can do cobra. From chaturanga, you can do upward dog. And then we'll all just meet in downward facing dog, like an upside down V. Take one big deep breath here. Inhale through your nose. And exhale out your mouth. Then go ahead and walk yourself, again, just kind of purposefully moving these feet on the ground, forward, toward the front of your mat. Folding yourself forward here. Inhaling, round all the way up to standing, take your arms out and up. And as you exhale, fold yourself back forward, coming all the way down. Inhale, lift halfway. Again, hands can go to shins or to your heart. You can leave fingertips on the floor. This time, stepping your left foot back toward the back edge of your mat. Again, looking for this right ankle to be directly beneath your right knee. This keeps your knee safe. Trying for a 90-degree angle like this. Then go ahead and drop your back knee, untuck back toes, and take an inhale and come on up. And again, looking for this forward motion to the hips. So a lot of people stay back here, really get into it. There should be a lot of stretch going on through the front of your left hip. Use that back shin to press down. Should put a lot of fire into the pose for you, maybe even making it pretty intense. So if it is too intense, then lighten up. Not so much pressing down with the shin, not so much pressing forward with the hips. Do what feels good to you. Take one more inhale here. And then as you exhale, bring your hands down. They frame this right foot, and then we're rocking the hips back. Again, this back hip goes right over the back knee now, and this right toes go up toward the ceiling. You're stretching through the back of your right leg. There wouldn't be anything wrong with bending the knee here. It's not a problem. All we're looking for is a stretch through your back body and also the back of this right leg. So let's go ahead and flow this a little bit. Exhale, come onto the sole of the right foot. Inhale, come back up to vertical. Exhale, come back down, hands frame right foot. Inhale, rock back, right toes reach towards ceiling. Exhale, sole of right foot. Inhale, up you go. Exhale, down. Inhale, back. Exhale, sole of foot. Inhale. Exhale, down. Inhale, back. Exhale, come onto the sole of the right foot. Plant your right hand down, that's a left hand down. Left fingertips would be fine too. And take this right arm up toward the sky so that you're in a little twist here. Really think about drawing your belly button in toward your spine on the exhale so that you can get more twist out of this and more openness through your chest. With your next exhale, go ahead and take this right hand down, hands plant, left knee lifts, right foot goes back to meet left. Here's our plank pose once again. You can decide, go all the way down to your belly or just go halfway. Inhale, lift your heart, and exhaling, Come back to downward facing dog in whatever way is the most graceful for you. And take a couple of deep breaths here. And again, if you already have a yoga practice and you would rather jump to the top of your mat, that is an option. The way I made this flow for you was the intention to have it be quite grounding, so each of these are walking forward, but if you already have your own practice, I probably don't need to tell you that you can modify anything and make it your own. You don't have to do everything I tell you to. So go ahead and walk your feet forward. Toward the top of your mat. And again, folding yourself forward here. Take an inhale and round yourself up. Take the arms out and up. And exhale and fold. Inhale, lifting halfway. And exhale, plant your hands, step your right foot back toward the back edge of your mat. Leave the back knee lifted this time and take an inhale and see if you can come up to vertical like this. Take one more big deep breath in here. And as you exhale, bring your hands down. Take this right hand to the inside of your left foot and then roll onto the pinky toe edges of both of your feet. So both of your feet will kind of feel like your toes are pointing toward like 10 or 11 o'clock. My back toes feel like they're pointing more toward 9 o'clock. Everything's pointing toward the left side of your mat. And then inhale and take this left arm up. This should stretch in your left bun, your left hip. If you have any knee pain, stop. Take an exhale, come back onto the ball of the back foot, the sole of the front foot. From here, send left foot back to meet right. Here's your plank pose. If you don't feel like another push-up, just push back to downward facing dog from here. Nothing wrong with that. If you want another flow, go ahead and run through your flow. Exhale back. Walk yourself up to the top of your mat. Inhale all the way up to standing. The arms go out and up. Exhaling, fold yourself back forward. Inhale, lift halfway, look forward. Exhale, step left foot back to the back edge of the mat. Same work, second side, so we're looking for the back knee to stay lifted. Front knee still has that 90-degree angle. Up you go to vertical. Even though you don't have a shin to press onto the ground, you can still press out of your back heel. Think about, even though it's round, think about having two corners. You're pressing out of the inside of the heel and the outside. With your next exhale, take your fingertips down. They frame your right foot. Left hand stays down. Roll onto pinky toe edge of both feet. And then take your right arm up. So this is a stretch for your right bun. Should become pretty apparent pretty fast. There's a chance it could become painful pretty fast. Again, if it's painful, just don't do it. It's completely not worth it. With your next breath, come back onto the ball of your back foot and the sole of your front foot. Send this right foot back to meet the left. Here's your plank pose. Choose flow or dog. We'll all meet in downward facing dog and take 2 breaths. Go ahead and walk yourself or jump yourself to the top of your mat. Take an inhale and ragdoll all the way up. Take the arms out and up and the palms join. And exhale and fold. Inhale and find a chair pose. Bend your knees and sit back in an imaginary chair. You should be able to lift your toes. There's no weight in the toes. It's all in the heels. Take your arms up. With your next exhale, fold yourself forward. Inhale, lift up halfway, look forward. Exhale, step right foot back. Inhale, come up to vertical.
From here, we're going to turn this into a warrior two. So go ahead and join your palms and bring your hands down to your heart. And then from here, this back foot rolls down. So your left toes are pointing at like 12 o'clock. And your right toes are pointing like at 2 or 3, let's say. Send your right hand forward and, your right hand back, left hand forward. You can look forward over your front fingers. Or if it's easier on your neck for some reason, you can just look out to the right. Take a couple breaths here. And then let's turn this into a flow. Take your right hand down to your right hip and send your left arm up toward the ceiling. And then as you exhale, take your left elbow down to your left knee and take your right arm up and reach. With your next inhale, come back up. This is peaceful warrior. And exhale, take your left elbow down and your right arm up and over your right ear. This is side angle pose. Inhale one more time, peaceful warrior. This time, as you exhale, cartwheel your hands down. They frame this left foot. Come onto the ball of your right foot. Right hand plants. Come onto pinky toe edge of both feet. Left arm goes up. Breathe. Take one more inhale here. Exhale, put this all away. Left foot goes back to meet right, and it's downward dog or a flow. Two breaths. Now step yourself once again or float yourself to the top of your mat. Inhale and ragdoll up, take the arms out and up, palms join. Exhale, fold yourself forward. Inhale, bend knees, chair pose. Take 2 breaths. Remember, taking the weight back into your heels. You could lift your toes, but you don't have to. With your next exhale, fold yourself forward. With your next inhale, look forward, lift up halfway. Exhale, plant fingertips, step left foot back to the back edge of the mat. Inhale, come up to vertical, high lunge. Again, thinking about the 2 corners of your back heel. Press out of both of them evenly so that you have a lot of oomph going back. The back knee is really opening to the ceiling, lots of power there. Turning this into a warrior two now, join palms. Take hands down to heart. Roll left foot down. Right toes are pointing at about noon, 12 o'clock. Left toes are pointing at 10 or 9. Keep this right knee over your toes. You should be able to see your big toe all the time. Right hand forward, left hand back. Again, looking over your foot fingers unless your neck doesn't like that. And then you can just look straight ahead. That's not a problem. Whatever works. And then we'll flow this too. Inhale, take left hand to left thigh. Right arm goes up toward the ceiling. And then as you exhale, right elbow comes down to right knee. Left arm goes up and over the ear. Inhale, back you go, peaceful warrior. And exhale, side angle. One more inhale. And now cartwheel the hands down. They frame this front foot, come onto the ball of the left foot, and then come onto the pinky toe edges of both of the feet. Left hand stays down, right arm lifts up. Take a couple breaths here. With your next exhale, put all of this away. Coming back onto the ball of the left foot, sole of the right foot. Send right foot back to meet left. Here's your plank pose. And exhaling, lowering down halfway or all the way. Inhaling, lifting your heart. Exhaling, finding your downward facing dog. Take a couple breaths here. Go ahead and walk these feet to meet the hands. Bring your feet to the outside of your hands. So your toes are pointed a little bit out, your heels are in. Bend your knees and bring your booty down. If this is really hard on like everything, there's a couple of things you can do. You can put something under your bum, like if you have a book handy or something. Secret option B is to actually sit down, plant your feet, bring your hands to your heart, just do this. What else can you do? You can just not. Whatever works for you. If you really don't want to, you can just sit down and cross your legs. Just looking for you to have some groundedness and some opening through your hips. So back to where the original intention was, squat. Hands are at the heart, elbows move into knees, and knees are really pressing back into the elbows, so you should feel quite a bit of tension in your hips. Not pain tension, but just a lot of, when you press, there's a lot of action going on there. So take a couple of breaths here. And if you have your booty on the ground or on something, it's the same action. Your elbows are still pressing into your legs and your legs are pressing into your elbows, and there's that tension there that's helping to create heat and also open things up too. Take one more breath here. And then if you're already not on your booty, make your way there now. So go ahead and have a seat. I'm gonna stop facing you once again. You just keep where you're at. Draw your knees together, bring your weight back, sit on your booty. You can have your legs straight if you like. This is boat pose. This is also boat pose, and there's nothing in the world wrong with holding it right here. Squeeze your legs together, lift up through your heart, like really proud chest. I always like to imagine like a puppet string. There's a string attached to the center of your heart and someone's pulling on it. With an inhale, turn this into a low boat pose. See how low you can go. And then as you exhale, bring it in. So there's a lot of action in your core. Super proud chest, belly button moves in, lots of action in the legs, very, very strong. Inhale, low boat. Exhale, boat. Inhale, low boat. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Can we do 5 more? Inhale. Exhale. 4. Exhale. 3. Exhale. 2. Exhale. 1. Exhale. Go ahead and rock and roll on your spine. Again, this is a move that might not be cool for some of you. Don't put weight into your neck. I got a bad neck, so I don't even roll that far. If it doesn't feel good to you, don't do it. See if you can get so much momentum that you get yourself back into your chair pose. With your next exhale, go ahead and twist over to your left, taking the left elbow, twist to your right, take the left elbow outside your right knee. Look down at your knees and make sure this right knee isn't moving really forward. Keep your knees together, which means pulling your left hip back. Take an inhale and come back to your chair pose. Take an exhale and twist the other way, wrapping this right elbow outside your left knee. And then again, don't let your right knee move forward. Keep it back, keep them together so that your hips stay together as well. That's really what you're doing. With your next inhale, come back to your chair pose. With your next exhale, fold yourself forward. Shake your head no. Nod your head yes. Inhale, come back to your chair pose. And exhale, twist this time. Just take the left arm outside the right leg. Take the right arm up. Inhale, come back to chair pose. Exhale, go the other way. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Inhale. And as you exhale, just plant your hands, fold yourself forward here, shake your head no, nod your head yes. Go ahead and bring yourself back onto your knees, toes tucked, bring hips back to heels, and just how we started our time together, pressing the hands down into the mat, pressing into the soles of the feet, so we're just stretching those babies out, toes are tucked. Again, maybe one side feels a little different than the other. Hopefully you feel a little bit more open and grounded anyway, regardless of whether it's still uncomfortable down there. And go ahead and untuck your toes, bring hips back to heels. Inhale, take the arms out and up. Palms join. Exhale, side bend to your right. Inhale, come back up through center. Exhale, side bend to your left. Inhale, come back up through center. Exhale, twist to your right. Right fingertips come down to the floor. Inhale, bring hips up. Exhale, hips come down. Cartwheel, hands down. Cat pose. Cow pose. Cat pose. Cow pose. Cat pose. Hips back to heels. Inhale, arms out and up. Palms join. Exhale, side bend left. Inhale, up through center. Exhale, side bend right. Inhale, up through center. Exhale, twist left, fingertips come down. Inhale, lift heart, lift hips. Exhale, cartwheel, hands down. Cat pose. And cow pose. And cat pose. And cow pose. I have one more back bend for you. If you already do yoga, it is camel pose. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, then follow me. The first thing I usually do is take my hips, my knees wide. There's a lot of schools of thought that say that you shouldn't have your knees this wide, but I have practiced with my knees closer together and it doesn't feel good, so I don't do that. So take your knees as wide as feels good to you to be able to stand up on your knees. I also tuck my toes under, but you don't have to do that. Just feels better for me. So door number one, just take the heels of your hands to the small of your back. Think about pressing your tailbone down and keeping your hips forward. Notice how my hips are right over my knees. Door number one, just lift your heart. I actually want my knees a little bit wider. Lift your heart. Imagine you could touch your elbows behind you. Door number two, hands to heart. Inhale, take right hand to right heel. Left arm goes up. Exhale, back to center. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Or there's the whole pose. So again, your hips are staying right over your knees. Imagine you're pressing everything right into an imaginary wall right in front of you. And your hands go back to meet your heels. Again, you can have the tops of your feet on the mat. I just find it more accessible to have my toes tucked. Look up toward the ceiling or look back if that feels okay for you, but it doesn't for me, so I look up at the ceiling. And then go ahead and let this go. Untuck your toes. Sit on your heels and just take a moment here with your spine in neutral. Maybe it would feel good to you to kind of stir imagine your tailbone is like a ladle. You're stirring up the soup. Go one way, go the other way. Nothing really fancy to do. I don't think this is an actual yoga move. But it feels good sometimes, so just go for it. All right, bring yourself forward to hands and knees. Cross your ankles behind you. Bring everything up and over your crossed ankles. And come to lie on your back. Hug your knees in toward your chest. toward the chest, but also out toward your shoulders. So make it so your back feels really, really flat on the mat. And you kind of roll the back of your head, taking ear toward shoulder, ear toward shoulder. Keep one knee, send the other leg long, let the heel of that foot rest on the mat. And then just switch legs, do the other side. Draw that knee in, send the other leg long. Bring the soles of the feet to the mat, let the knees be bent, let your knees knock in on each other. Bring your hands to your belly. You can close your eyes or just look up at the ceiling and just take a moment here. Breathe deeply. Check in with your body. Is there any last minute thing that you need to do in order to make this practice complete for you? Just do whatever moves make sense. Your body will tell you what it still wants. So go ahead and make those moves as you see fit. And then when you're ready to find Shavasana, so you'll send both of your legs out long. Let your toes just flop out to either side. Let your arms do the same. The palms will face up. Find a spot of neutrality where your arms aren't too tucked into your body, but they're not really like a capital T either. They're like the bottom of a snow angel. Bring your attention into your shoulders, your shoulder blades. Ask them to be flat on the mat. Ask them to feel very heavy. In your mind's eye, go into your back body and feel that whole back body making very definite contact with the ground. Feel all the body parts that are touching ground. And feel all of the spaces, all the little nooks and crannies, all the little curves and all the places that aren't touching the ground. Imagine yourself very heavy. With each exhale, imagine you're getting heavier and heavier, heavier. Give yourself a few more very deep breaths, big full inhale, full complete exhale. See if you can make your exhales even longer than your inhales. And with each exhale, imagine more heaviness through your back body. I'm going to leave you in Shavasana so that you can stay as long as you like, right where you are. But I want to thank you for this opportunity to spend these 45 minutes together. I hope your body feels amazing. I hope you sleep like a rock. Do this practice whenever you like. Maybe we can do it more often. All right, rest easy. Stay as long as you like. Namaste.